I'm Ronan, that's Wadsworth. Welcome to Now Z Here. I want to start out this week by just acknowledging how inspiring it was to see the representatives in the US Senate stand up, literally stand up, for hours upon hours against the violence that is enabled by the gun laws in this country. I was especially proud to see Senator Dick Durbin from my current state of Illinois and Kirsten Gillibrand from my original home state of New York. It just made me so... It made me excited about politics. Actually excited for the first time in probably years. And I'm really hoping, and I know that there are a lot of people out there still cheering them on and hoping that something real and concrete comes out of this. Anyway, let's talk about the word weird. My mom, hi mom, likes to tell me that I'm not weird. Usually after I've just called myself weird. Like, oh, you're not weird, like she's reassuring me of something. Which is a valid interpretation, at least in a cultural context. You know, there's this cultural tendency to assume that weird is a bad thing. Like when you call yourself weird, you're either making a judgment on yourself, a negative judgment on yourself, or you're seeking for some kind of validation. That's the highly stereotypical teenage girl context of weird. Like, oh my god, you guys, I'm so weird. Which, in its own way, yes, can be an expression of low self-esteem or seeking validation, but it's also a way to look for a connection among your friends, a community, people who understand your weird, who match your weird, or who are willing to overlook your weird. That last one, try not to look for people who overlook your weird. Now, this cultural assumption of weirdness being a negative, being a bad thing, does differ in how prominent it is based on where you are and the kind of community that you're in. If you were raised in the American Midwest, or if you have family in the American Midwest, you might know that when they say something is different, oh, that's different, that's code for, I haven't seen this before and it's making me uncomfortable. It's another way of saying something is weird and that's a bad thing. Now, let's get this simple fact out of the way before we go any further. Everyone is weird. Everyone is weird because everyone has a different barometer of what is normal. This exists on both an individual and a societal level. Did you know that in Canada, they sell milk in bags? Lots of people in America on the internet didn't. When they found out, they lost their minds. You put milk in bags? That's so weird. Everyone is weird. There's no one true overarching barometer of weirdness and normalcy throughout humankind. But there are cultural standards of weirdness and normalcy. And here's the thing. It is possible to claim weirdness without making it a stain on ourselves. It's a lot like the word queer, which for a long time was simply just a slur. And a lot of people still don't feel comfortable using that term to describe themselves because they remember when it was very strongly used as a slur. But there are also a lot of people who are claiming it as a statement of fact, as a way to position ourselves within this culture that we live in. It's the same with weird. I claim a weird space because I know that there's a lot about me that places me in that space already. And it doesn't really matter how much certain things are being gradually more accepted in overall society. You know weird when you see it. Having hair dyed unnatural colors is weird. Being trans is weird. Having tattoos, still a little weird. That one, it more depends on where you are. And if I choose to embrace that space that I've been put into and to really claim it as mine instead of it just being somewhere that I am, claiming weirdness becomes an act of self-love. So, if you know you're weird, embrace your weird. And you know what? If anyone tries to tell you you're not, take their statement for how they mean it. They just think you're trying to put yourself down. And they're trying to make you feel better because they care. Love you, Mom. But embrace your weird. Love your weird. Love yourself. And always be changing. See you next week.